What's up, guys? Jay here from Dookie Reacts, and I have a review. So, Spider-Man Homecoming has finally came out, and it's been, I guess, a huge smash. I haven't really looked at the numbers yet for, like, box office, but it's critically, it's doing good. Everyone seems to love it. So, I'm going to give a little bit of a review here, non-spoiler, for about a minute or so, but I'm mostly going to go to spoilers because I think everyone's going to see this movie pretty early that's going to watch this review. So if you haven't seen it, I would recommend going to see it because it's really fun. So it is action packed. It's fun. The tone, I'll get into that because I have a little list here. I actually prepared something, so I'm pretty proud of myself for actually writing something down. But the tone is a fun. It's an upbeat story. I really enjoyed it. I don't really know how to review movies without really spoiling a whole lot. But I had a lot of fun with the movie. If you've seen the trailer, then you know the basic story. So I'm just gonna move right into that. So I'm gonna go to spoilers. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't talk about this movie without talking about any of the spoilers. So or I don't want to be vague about anything. I want to be specific. So I want to hit specific things. So let's just go. I'm going to recap a little bit of the story. So Michael Keaton plays the Vulture. I can't remember what his last name was, but it was something pretty badass. But he starts off the movie, and he's a contractor, or he's bought the rights to kind of salvage this equipment from these battles that the Avengers have had with some aliens. But the government, or Tony Stark, somebody kind of interferes with that. Tony Stark's name is mentioned, but I don't know exactly who's doing this, but they come over and they kind of dick him out of money because he spent money to do this, and they're like, well, sorry, but this is the government's property, you can't have any of it. But they do manage to get one piece of tech away, and then they have this kind of genius guy who can fix stuff up, and bam, there we go. So now he's kind of an illegal arms dealer, and that kind of moves the plot forward, which you feel for the guy. You know what he got kind of effed over, and so you do what you got to do. I like the aspect that they played, and I like that they showed him early in the movie, because when I first saw that, this is the opening scene. This is supposed to be like, oh, this is the movie, you know, and it's like, wait, what is going on here? Why is this the opening scene? Then it's over, and you're like, oh, that's why. This is a very well set up villain, I feel like. The conflict between him and Spider-Man is a great. It is a great conflict. I guess that's the only way to say it. It's a great conflict because you have the two ideals of a young kid who doesn't know the world yet, and which he mentions that, and then you have the older grizzled man who's been dicked over by the world and wants to stick it to it and wants to make money and provide for his family. And I think they're going to keep Michael Keaton going along because he's in the movie still at the end, and he doesn't die or anything. And I hope he stays around because he is great in this movie. Michael Keaton is one of my favorite parts of the movie itself. He gives an awesome performance. I don't know if you would say just like his acting was super great, but he's having so much fun in this role. He has a scene where him and Peter are in the car together. And it's before the homecoming dance, so you know the scene. And they're in the car, and he's just grilling them about, you know, I'll kill your family, I'll kill everyone that you love if you if you come back after me, you should just leave it alone, right? And that was pretty intense and made me like kind of shiver, you know, like I've had those conversations, not that bad, not like I'm gonna die or anything, but I've had those conversations with my mom or my dad where it's like they're super serious, and I'm already kind of like trembling, and they don't say I'm gonna kill you and your family, right? But I can only imagine if that was real and he's saying that. But in the movie you feel it too. You're like, oh gosh, this is not good, not a good situation for poor Peter Parker to be in. Okay, but going to the next thing, I got caught up on Michael Keaton. That was one of my notes there. Okay, the suit and Karen. It's kind of a cool thing that they've added. Some people are wondering, is the suit too much? Does it have too much technology? But I think it's a great addition to this kind of lore for the character. I don't know how much in the comic books he has of this kind of um, tech. But in the movie, I really like it for the fact that Tony Stark gives it to him, and then it added another layer of kind of the comedy to it because of the whole malfunctioning and him not knowing exactly what to do with it, training wheels protocol and all that. And Karen makes for an actually a cool character for him to interact with whenever he's in his suit, kind of like a Jarvis for Tony Stark. And so I really, really enjoyed that part of it. And I think that if the suit was made by Tony Stark, that it would have these kind of features, and it only makes sense for it to. It only helps him and benefits him. The one thing about it though is that you never got to see a spider sense moment in the movie where he detects something that's coming at him or anything and he kind of dodges it, because I really like the spider sense moments in the other Spider-Man movies. I don't know why they didn't include this in here. I thought at some point in the movie he would actually figure it out, like he would actually get it, like he would one of the times something would tick and he'd be like, what is that, and then he would realize, oh, something's coming at me, and that would be his first experience with the spider sense. But they did never do it in there. I don't know why. I guess maybe the whole suit mechanic and Karen kind of helps that, because she can tell if there's oncoming things and she can let them know, but I'm not sure. But I actually like that part. I like the suit. The Iron Spider at the very end is a little bit too much. I don't want to see him flying around like an Iron Man suit like that. That's my personal preference. It looks badass, and I like to see at least one scene with it, maybe. But not. I like this suit is plenty. The Tony Stark original suit is plenty enough for that. Okay, so humor and tone is one thing I wrote. This movie is not generally laugh out loud funny. It's, in my opinion, of course. It definitely is funny, but I wasn't ever like actually laughing out loud. It's very, I don't know, it's very strange, but it's a charming kind of humor in this movie where if you understand what the jokes are, and you don't necessarily see them coming, but it's just like the situations that they go in. They're the kids. It's very hard to explain, but I don't know. It keeps you entertained, I feel like, but it's not just like, you're not just laughing out loud at all the moments. There was a lot of quiet in the theater, but they were generally funny. Like, hey, that's clever. That's funny. I guess that's a word. I just thought of it. It's pretty. There's clever moments in here when it is funny. It's witty, and I like that about it. The whole school setting, it's very different. This whole movie feels very strange, but in a good way. Like, it doesn't feel like any other Spider-Man movie, which it shouldn't. But it also doesn't feel like really any other kind of high school movie that I could think of. And I'll segue into Tom Holland's age. I don't see him. I can't see him as 15 years old. It's crazy that he's supposed to be 15 years old in this movie. I know he's 18, but and so I can't get rid of. I was like, well, at first I thought he was gonna be like 17, or maybe even 16, but 15. I think that's too young. I can't buy Tom Holland as a 15-year-old. I mean, his face is. He can pull off a younger look, but I didn't think that young. I don't know, but that's my opinion. But he's a great Spider-Man. I do like him as Spider-Man. His voice is really soft. I don't know if he talks like that in real life, but in the movie he has a very soft voice, and I don't know if that's intentional or not, but I won't say his voice is annoying because that's too, but he sounds like a Spider-Man. When he has a suit on and everything, he sounds like a Spider-Man. But it's just a little bit kind of bothered me. A little, but it's not a huge gripe. Not a huge gripe. Just a ticky tack thing that maybe I'll get over it. MJ, Michelle. Now this is a character in the movie that I liked, but was always was weird. It was a weird. She's weird in this movie. And of course her name is actually Michelle, but she has the name drop at the very end, which is my friends call me MJ, and I think that's fine. If you want to do it that way, I don't care. I still like her character. She's more interesting than, or she's not more interesting, but she's still interesting, even if it's MJ or not MJ. I don't care. She's a different character, obviously, than was portrayed before in other movies. Um, but I like how weird they made her kind of character. She's just like I won't say like a slob, but she's just like apathetic to like everything. She goes to detention just to draw pictures of people that of their sad lives or whatever she says, and that's pretty funny and clever. She has a good moment whenever Peter walks into the homecoming dance and she sees him and she's like, and just gives him the finger, and that's like exactly what I do to my friends. So it's like, hey, and it's pretty funny. There was actually a lot of more cursing in this than I expected, because I was like, oh man, I'm going to see a kids film right now. When I walked in, and I was like, what if this is just a kids film? But they have, I think Spider-Man doesn't say anything bad, but he says hell, and they have the finger in there, and they drop a S-bomb and some other things, but not too dirty, because there was some little kids, like some small kids behind me in the theater. Okay, this is long. I'm going long. I only wanted this to be like 6 minutes, but I had a lot of thoughts. Okay, love interest. Now she's moved away. That's fine, because I think, I mean, you felt for them. I liked their romance in the movie, and I think that should be a big part of it. Peter Parker's story is dealing with emotions, and a love interest is very important. And I'm a guy who likes some romance in a action movie or whatever, as long as it's done well and it's heartfelt, because that adds another layer to the action. You get some stakes, right? So I was fine with her in the movie. Her performance was good, but at the end of the day, I'm anxious to see where this MJ thing goes, because I feel like they're setting up. They didn't have much of them interacting in the movie, but you could tell from her looks and everything. Whenever Peter would leave, she always was looking at him, and I mean, she didn't want to show her interest, right? Just yet. But I think and I hope that she grows as a character, and she becomes more outspoken, and she actually starts to show more emotions towards Peter, and that would make a good arc for her as a character, because right now she's just kind of this weird person, but she obviously has this kind of thing for Peter that I think will develop. But I think Peter will have another love interest first in this next movie, and then while he also deals with kind of, oh wait, I might have feelings for MJ as well. Oh maybe, but there's this other girl, and they're also against the Falcon or whatever else is coming now. But I think that would be a good Vulture, not Falcon, whatever. But I think that would be a good place for them to go with the character, and I hope they do that, and then they kind of have their little love affair at the end of Spider-Man 2, and then maybe they carry that over to 3, where they have a bump in the road or whatever. But that's a long ways down the road. That's just speculation. But that's it. That's basically my thoughts. I know this went longer, and I was talking really fast trying to get all of this information out, and my hair has looked stupid this whole filming. But okay, I'm gonna go with the rating, and I finally decided on a system that I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna do 0 to 10, but I can do like 5.5 or 6.3 or 7.8 or anything like that. And for this Spider-Man movie, I think I've came to a 8.6, because I want to have some flexibility. I really like this movie, and I haven't put my reviews out there enough yet to where I have like a solid standing point of what's the greatest, like what's a 10 and what's a 1, right? But I feel like this is up there in the upper part of it, because I really, really enjoyed it. I will say that I may put Wonder Woman just slightly ahead for my favorite movie of the year so far. Probably like 8.7 or 8.8 for Wonder Woman, 8.6, but not even by that margin. Very slim margin that I would prefer Wonder Woman just ever so slightly. Spider-Man's still a very, very fun film, and I'm definitely going to buy it on Blu-ray, and you should see it, and go watch it now, and go watch it tomorrow, and do all that stuff. So, if you watch this whole thing, thank you so much. I love you. You listen to my crazy review rants and all that. Whew. So comment. Let me know what you thought of Spider-Man Homecoming down below. Like this video. Subscribe so you don't miss the next review. And I'll see you next time.